The Mekong Delta in southern Vietnam is a vast maze of rivers, swamps, and islands, home to floating markets and quaint villages surrounded by endless fields of rice paddies. Boats are the main means of transportation, and tours of the region often start in nearby Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon, a bustling town in the heart of the Delta. Right now we are traveling through Kai Rang Floating Market. It's the largest and costs about $10 to $15 to get here by boat. Everything is wholesale, so look at what's tied to the long pole above the boat to figure out what they're selling to smaller traders. So instead of asking which boat sells watermelons, for example, look carefully and it should be advertised. Spending most of their time on the river, people from generation to generation here seem to get acquainted with living on floating boats. One of the lesser known attractions of the Mekong Delta region of Vietnam is the Tra Su Forest, which is on the Vietnam-Cambodia border, and tours are available if you love nature like I do. It's quite a spectacular view, enhanced by singing birds. These tours cost about $6 or $7 per boat, and in such a generally noisy country, it's almost unnervingly quiet in this forest. There are some walking paths in the forest for those who seek a bit more adventure. But it's probably prudent to just stay in the boat. There are numerous myths and legends from this part of the world involving dragons. These are not quite the same as European dragons, which in folklore is often, if not always, described with wings. The Southeast and East Asian dragons are depicted as serpentine creatures with 4 limbs and no wings. Incidentally, the English word dragon and Latin word draco derives from the Greek drakon, meaning serpent of huge size, water snake, or giant sea fish. A dragon is generally regarded as a mythological representation of a reptile in modern times. But in antiquity, dragons were mostly envisioned as serpents, but with legs resembling a lizard. The Greek and Latin term refer to any great serpent, not necessarily mythological, and this usage was also current in English up until the 18th century. In many Asian cultures, dragons were, and in some cultures still are, revered as representative of the primal force of nature, religion, and the universe. They're associated with wisdom, often said to be wiser than humans, and with longevity. They're commonly said to possess some form of magic or other supernatural power, and are often associated with wells, rain, and rivers. In some cultures, they're said to be capable of human speech. And in some traditions, dragons are said to have taught humans to talk. In some versions, altered their language or alphabet. And there's even an ancient deity preceding Hinduism in the region closer to India that was a dragon with deer antlers. The modern Persian word ezdaha means dragon, and several dragons and dragon-like creatures are mentioned in Zoroastrian scripture, and they are all malevolent. Naga is the Sanskrit word for snake, and it is also the name of a semi-divine race of supernatural beings. The Angami Naga tribes of India claim that their ancestors emerged in ancient times from a subterranean land inside the earth, specifically from 2 caves and a mountain leading to the underground. This very much resembles South American mythology and the belief of the natives who live alongside the Parima River in Brazil that claim that their forefathers emerged in ancient times from an underground land and that many of their ancestors still remained inside the earth. There are also legends that say the ancestors of the Inca Empire came from the underground caves which are located east of Cusco in Peru. In fact, America was initially called the land of the great plumed serpents by the natives of Peru. The chief god of the Aztec and Maya in Central America was Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan, respectively, and in Peru this deity was called Amaru, and the deity known as Amaruca, the real origin of the name, instead of being named after the explorer Amerigo Vespucci. Quoting from the book Secret Doctrine by H.P. Blavatsky, it states that worship of the dragon and the sun were universal on the Earth's surface at one time. And I quote, "The tradition of the dragon and the sun is echoed in every part of the world. There was a time when the four parts of the world were covered with the temples sacred to the sun and the dragon, but the cult is now preserved mostly in China and the Buddhist countries. The dragon, however, is not the middle-aged concept of a beast with wings breathing fire, but is in reality a snake." End quote. According to Chinese legends, the earliest emperors were closely related to the dragon. Since the Chinese considered them their ancestors, they sometimes refer to themselves as the descendants of the dragon, the imperial throne being called the Dragon Throne. Now, back to Vietnam. Inside Hang Son Doong, where one of the world's largest known caves was recently discovered, at more than 200 meters high, 150 meters wide, and 5 kilometers long, the Hang Son Doong cave in Vietnam is so big, it has its own river, jungle, and climate. But nobody knew of any of that until a few years ago. More people have stood on the summit of Mount Everest than have witnessed the surreal beauty inside these enormous chambers. The idea that our planet consists of a hollow or honeycombed interior is not new. Some of the oldest cultures speak of civilizations deep inside of vast cavern cities within the bowels of the earth. According to certain Buddhist and Hindu traditions, secret tunnels connect Tibet with a subterranean paradise, and they call this legendary underworld Agartha. In India, this underground oasis is best known by its Sanskrit name, Shambhala, thought to mean place of tranquility. Mythologies throughout the world, from South America to the Arctic, describe numerous entrances to these fabled inner kingdoms. Many occult organizations, esoteric authors, and secret societies concur with these myths and legends of subterranean inhabitants who are the remnants of antediluvian civilizations which sought refuge in hollow caverns inside of the earth. Could there really be these civilizations that inhabit the inner earth? And if so, are they actually reptilian beings? Or has the serpent symbolism been misinterpreted over the millennia? Are there subterranean breakaway civilizations that have influenced us on the surface world? And if so, where are they now? My name is Robert Sepehr. I'm an anthropologist working independently to explore some of these questions, which are largely ignored or ridiculed by mainstream academia. Thank you for sharing my videos if you like them, and for reading my books available on Amazon.com. I appreciate the encouraging book reviews and the positive feedback. As always, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.